Hey guys, this is another story I just feel compelled to tell. Um, Mainly not to just whine about my own issues or my own problems here, but just to post other stuff to help other guys out and to ask some questions that need to be asked. I'm just getting really disillusioned as most I think people are, mostly men, with this family law system. My little bit of quick background on my story. I don't want to get too much into it, but I mean it's a common story. Um, you know, 54-year-old man. You know, my background. I was raised by a single mother. Uh, my father passed away early, so the way I learned to become a man, was through places like this, in the boxing ring, in the Muay Thai ring, training, the gym. That's where I learned to become a man and out in the working world. Grew up very poor. Um, Never had anything given to me. Had to work for everything and fight for everything, and compete to get to where I am now. And I thought, I bought into the narrative. Be a good guy. I'm not perfect. By no means am I claiming that I'm some angel. Just a regular guy who's worked hard, extraordinary hard. I've kept my fitness up. I've trained Muay Thai all my life, uh, weight train, diet. Um, I did what I was told to do, be a good guy. I lived basically the blue pill alpha life, right? Had to become a man on my own, figure it out. It's not easy. Um, you know, Being told all your life by the education system, by the government, do the right thing, go to work, earn your pay, work hard, and you'll get somewhere. I did all those things, and I got a very good job. I'm not going to say what it is, again, because of the culture that we're today's society. I don't want any ramifications back from that. But this is, incredibly, this is where I'm at, 54 years old. Uh, what they call a gray divorce, and my country let me down, the family law system. Um, as a man, you know, um, I'm getting close to retirement. I paid my dues in my career. Um, my ex-wife here, um, I met later in life in my late 30s. Second marriage, first one was ill-advised, and I'll take responsibility for that. I have one daughter from that marriage, and which I've taken full responsibility for and raised and paid for, and lives with me. Um, and she's a young woman now, 21 years old. But these relationships with these women in my life have ruined, sort of indoctrinated her into, unfortunately, seeing the world through the women that she's seen in her life, her mother and my ex-wife, my current ex-wife. I feel just betrayed by my country and betrayed by the system. I worked hard to get where I was. I earned it. I competed. I kept my part of the bargain, kept my fitness, kept my viability, and for what it's worth, relationships don't work out. You can go back and forth on whose fault it is, who did this, who did that. I mean, that's why I guess we have the no-fault system. But when it comes down to it, it's just a plain math equation, which the government dictates the narrative, and it is slanted one way, and mostly. And we can, you can argue this or bring up the apex example of you know, the one woman that's had to pay support or give up her assets. But let's be honest here, and we can argue this. It's mostly the men who have the assets. I came into this later in life, with assets, and worked hard to get there. And now I'm starting off at 54 years old with barely just saving my paycheck, basically. And I just don't see how it's possible in this situation, my situation. Now, every situation is different. I have the child. I'm responsibility for my child, and I pay for it. But somehow I had to pay for another grown human being that's responsible for herself, who had a job, all the opportunity to do. I brought her up levels to my level. We gained assets through marriage, which I brought into the marriage, but because of the split, the way it works out with the family law system, she gets access to half of that and more. So basically, as a man, you're lucky to come out with the paycheck you earned every week, risking whatever job you do, whatever hardships you went for your job and earned, to give away to another grown human being who's supposed to be equal rights and equal pay and equal opportunity. And the government tells me that I'm responsible for a grown-ass human being. It's incredible. And as a man, you're just lucky to get out with your assets or with your paycheck. I had to give up a pension, which from a job that I had before I met this person. And I'm the one who went through the struggles of keeping a job and thriving at my job and going through the punishment I did for my job. But this person can access my pension, which I earned. And now it's forcing me to have to work, well past my prime in my profession. And my job is physically taxing. And it's not fair, especially, this woman is younger. And so what happens is we've got two people. Now, kids are a different story. We have to be responsible for our children, and that costs money and responsibility. And I've done all that. But I'm the one with the child, and I'm the one who takes care of my child, and I'm the one who's told that I was supposed to be responsible for another human being for unsaid amount of years and transfer payments to this person to better their life when they lived, off of me the whole time and had many opportunity to better their life and did better their life. But for some reason, we all have to be equal. And it doesn't make sense to me. I'm not equal to the guy down the street. He may make $50,000 more than me, but he worked, whatever he does, he worked hard, whether he went to law school or a doctor or whatever job he does, financial, whatever he does. He worked hard to get there, and he went through the motions to do that. So he deserves to get what he gets. I can sit here and bitch and complain about it, but the fact is he did what he had to do to get into that position. So why doesn't it apply to a marriage or to female and male relationships? It doesn't make sense to me. I understand a marital asset, like a house, it gets split, even though one person paid all the responsibility, took all the risk, took all the financial responsibility, paid mortgage, paid the taxes, paid the expenses, but the other person has access to half of that. Okay, we can deal with that. But pension, folks, pension, is that right? You're going to sit here and argue when you had nothing to do. This is not a situation where, somebody supported me while I went to school and became what I became. No, this is a different situation. This is a situation where I had these things before this person came into my life. And granted, I'm responsible for not vetting these people, but, it happens. It happens to incredibly talented people, incredibly intelligent people. It happens everywhere. We have to change these laws. I'm calling on responsibility to women or to individuals. Like, do you want this to happen to your sons, ladies? Do you? Do you want this to happen to your brother? Do you want this to happen to your fathers? Is it fair? It's not fair. The words I was told, you hear all the usual tropes while you're with these people in a marriage. Oh, I would never do that. I can't believe that lady's doing that to him, or that's just not right. That's not fair. But when the time comes, you're going to hear, this is the words you hear. I have it's my right to do this. It's my right to take this. This is the law allows me to. That's what we hear. It's incredible. It's just disingenuous. You know, it's unbelievable until you get there. And you tell the story to all you white knight guys and all you, nothing, not taken away from you, you happy married couples and people. I applaud you for making the right choices. But, we do make mistakes, and there's two people at fault when a relationship breaks out. We can go back and forth on who did this, who did that, and this stuff. But, that's not what we're here for. We're here, after that fact, we can argue till the cows come home. But the fact is, shouldn't happen to you. If I go through the list, I've tried to make this a little bit organized of the amount of money I've lost. I've lost my house. I've lost a portion of my pension that I work for. I lost, let alone the countless furniture, all the money invested in vacations and all the living expenses. That's just the financial cost, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I can detail, hundreds, $200,000, $300,000 in between, roughly over 200,000 easy for a 7-year marriage, incredible. And, I'm talking to a person that hasn't even, you bring someone up to your level because you love them and you want them to enjoy life also. But then when something ends like this, do we need to bring down the other person to bring up the other person? Or when do we say another adult's responsible for their own way in life at a certain point? You're going to gain no matter what. But here we set up a system where one person gains, is coming out on top to a place where they would never get probably on their own, and another person brought down to a level that's just at a beginner in life level. Like if I was 20 years old, it's just not morally right. It's just wrong. I liken this to, like, at one time, slavery was legal in North America. And that's a horrible, horrible thing that was allowed by the law. And then afterwards we realized how wrong that was, how disgusting that was. And we changed the laws, rightfully so. At what point do we look at these laws and go, this is an incredibly wrong, morally wrong thing that we're allowing here? The government to step in and force someone to steal money, basically steal money, and pay a ransom. Basically, as men, we got to pay ransom, to exit these people out of our lives. And I'm saying, man, because let's look at the facts. I don't have them in front of me, but I'm willing to guess that over 90% is men. And of course, the women in their lives don't want to change these laws, because if they ever get to that point, they know that it's going to affect them. So they want to make that change. They're just going to sit in silence and allow this to happen to their sons. What they don't think is the bigger picture. This could be your son, ladies. This could be your brother. This could be your father. Is this what you want? This is what you think is fair? Do you wish this upon your own sons, lady? You treasure your children? This is what a system you've set up. It's incredible. It's just incredibly disingenuous. Again, I'm repeating myself, but that's the biggest thing out of this. The responsible for the relationships, that you can get over that. That's, what do you expect in this day and age? I didn't vet properly. I chose wrong for people in my life, and I'll take responsibility for that, but why should I have to continue to pay? So basically, this person in my life is going to get, by the time they are able to get access to that pension, which I had to transfer over, I could be dead. It's that amount of time, an age difference, maybe 10, I think 13 years. So I would be retired. So at that point, whatever this person is in life, they're going to collect this money and go, well, gee, thank you to so-and-so for leaving this for me and my new partner to enjoy our lives and go on vacations or whatever situation. It's just morally wrong. It's just utterly morally wrong. That's, I just need to state that. Let alone the other things that are lost, like, my daughter, I looked at this person in her life, and saw the way the relationship went, emulated, because that was an example she had, and emulated her behavior as far as relating to me. And now I have to work on repairing that relationship, and the amount of disappointment that she feels going through this person in her life since she's been 5 years old. And no responsibility for that. Now I reverse that scenario and say the person I was involved with had a child. The law would be telling me that I took on a fatherly role with that child, and that I should be responsible financially for that child, for the rest, until that child is finished school or whatever, and then, you know, and, but, and I would be told by society that I'm a horrible man for, coming into this child's life and then abandoning them. But let alone, nobody faces up to, somebody like the women who do this and now just walk away and pretend like nothing happened, and nobody calls them out in society. Just support. Well, you go, girl. You don't need a man to support you. And coming across, this has been almost 2 years now, working through this crap, paying lawyers, let alone the lawyer fees. I didn't even list that. $30,000 to come to an agreement, which I suggested in the beginning that we should try and do, instead of wasting through the money between the lawyers, which is, again, no knock on all lawyers, but most of you, shame on you lawyers for promoting this system. I can see financial incentive why you would, but it's just, again, I don't know how you sleep at night. It's just morally wrong. The crap that comes back and forth, the letters, the accusations, the lies, the embellishment of the truth. It's just incredible, and when you're dealing with somebody that's just dealing on emotion and not logic, you can't talk any sense into them to like why we bothering with this stuff. It just comes down to we need to make a financial deal, and and that's all it is. And being a man in this society, growing up in the world that I grew up in this age, we're just told that you're supposed to get married. They don't tell us about the contract, how it's an unconscionable contract. Like, you would never go into business with somebody who you would settle if something went bankrupt in the business. A business went under, that one person was responsible for all the costs, would give up all the responsibility to one person, and one person would walk away with assets, and the other person would walk away with all the debt and lose everything from the business. You would say, are you crazy? Why would you go into business with someone like that? Well, basically, that's what marriage has turned into. In the end, it comes down to, one person taking all the responsibility and financial responsibility and the cost of the breakup of the marriage, and the other person just walking away, actually walking out on top with actual assets, which, again, is incredible. You wouldn't believe it unless you have to go through it. And all the responsibility, all the emotional cost of losing another side of a family you've had for so long. I mean, okay, that happens when marriages break up, but again, now I have to repair my relationship with my daughter after all these years of bringing this woman into our lives, and unfortunately, it's not going to be easy, and I have to take responsibility for that. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm just trying to ramble, get my thoughts together here. So basically, I just want to state this and saying, like, calling people out, calling the society out, calling my country who's let me down, my government's let me down, and I'm going to take responsibility and fix it like a man should do. But I'm a product of what I was taught and the way I was conditioned. But at some point, we have to take responsibility for ourselves, and that's all I'm asking. You're a growing human being. You're responsible for a relationship that ends. Take financial responsibility for yourself. Assets can be split, but then going beyond that, going into somebody's hard-earned pension, hard-earned money, that they deserve, that the other person had nothing to do with. It's just plain theft, state-sanctioned, province in my case, sanctioned theft. And it's just morally wrong. But instead of bitching, here I am bitching, but I'm complaining about it, and I just want to get it out there and state and calling out, what you think, guys. Let me know. Ladies, let me know. Like, do you really want this to happen to your sons? You treasure your beautiful children, your brothers, your fathers. Do you want this to happen to them? Because this is the system that you condone by being quiet and by sitting on the sidelines and listening to women around you and watching, just shaking your head and going, oh, wow, I would never do that. But when you're in that position, you're just using the same old excuse as well. It's your rights. It's your privilege. Well, I've never had privilege in my life. I've had to work for everything. So how about you start working for stuff in your life and take responsibilities also for, a marriage or a relationship that ends, and not have the law come in here and treat you like you're helpless children. Even with my own child, paying support or whatever, it would eventually end when the child reaches a certain age and finishes university or college. You're not, for your own DNA, at a certain point it ends, and they can't sue you and come back, oh, my parents didn't look after me, I'm going to sue them. But you're dealing with another grown human being that's got no genetic link to you if you don't have children with them or genetics with them. And the law is telling you that you're responsible for this other person for God knows how long, 10 years, 5 years, your pension. Like, is that right? Am I just crazy? Like, I don't understand. But your own child, it ends at some point. It's just craziness. Ladies, it's crazy. Take responsibility, ladies. You want to be independent and equal? Fine, I have no problem with that. But why don't you start acting like it? I've been out here in the world dating a little bit and stuff, and I'm coming across the incredible privilege of the women that's come out, and I you do the math and you figure out, well, how does this lady have a house paid for, who has a job that makes half as much as me? Now that person is in a higher position than me, and you start asking questions, and they really don't realize that they were lucky enough to be married to an individual that provided those things, and they're able to come out with something to have in the future that they would never have earned on their own at the current position they're in. Now, every situation is different, but it's just incredible of the ignorance. They don't even realize, hey, I have this because I was married to somebody that gained enough assets that I get a portion of that, and it's not my privilege. And it's incredible that they have no clue. And I just look at it now and I go like, okay, that's fine. You were lucky enough to be married to an individual who provided that, and you gained from that. But recognize that you gained from that. Whatever the relationship is, I can't comment in who did what, who did that, who did this. That's not. But you were lucky enough to gain from this, and recognize that and admit it, instead of just telling me that you earned it, or that this was your right and your privilege. Where's my privilege as a human being, as a man, as an individual in the society who's worked hard and tried to do the right thing? I'm not perfect. Again, I did a lot of things wrong, but I had no example of how to be in this world as a man. And I take responsibility for that. But I've educated myself, and I've learned the hard way. And I take nothing for granted. And I've worked for everything I have. And to have people walking around with this privilege and innate ignorance about what's gone on and how they got there is incredibly disheartening. And it's so much so that I'm considering leaving the country I'm raised in, because they've incredibly have let me down. Canada, North America, anywhere in North America. You betrayed me. You betrayed me as a law-abiding, contributing person in society. And I hope that this will begin some sort of change. But again, if anything, it's just going to help some of you gentlemen to really think about what you get into and realize what you're working up against. And hopefully, if there's some ladies who see this, actually recognize and understand what's going on here, and be honest, and be an honorable person, or a respectful person, and educated person, and not emotional, and see what really is going on here and how wrong it is, morally wrong. Okay? Sorry to ramble on, guys. There'll be more to come. Please let me know how you feel about this. And hopefully this will help some of you guys out there to understand what's going on. And there's other people that are going through it. And my story is so common. And I wish it wasn't. So again, I'm going to stop bitching and complaining. This is it. I just had to get it off my chest. And we're going to work on making a better life and be more productive again, because that's all the choice we have as men, as individuals, to be in life. Because nobody's there. No one's going to be there to kiss your ass and tell you how great you are. You have to do it yourself. And I plan on doing that. So peace, and good luck to you all. Thanks for listening to my crap. And hopefully this helps you out. Bye for now.